Welcome to Democratic Television, a program of the Santa Clara County Democratic Party that brings insights, perspectives, and attitudes of our always thoughtful guests. Today, our guest is Lea King, the Executive Director of the Silicon Valley Talent Partnership. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you, Steve, for inviting me.
Well, I know your organization is very interesting and you're doing a lot of great stuff, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Well, let's get to know you a little bit better. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
That's the $5 million question. Where am I from? I think by the end of the show, you will realize I'm one of the most global person. I am born in Taiwan and raised in Reston, Virginia. And I've moved around in the United States. I eventually anchored myself in New Jersey. And just when I got comfortable, I got moved to Hong Kong. From Hong Kong, I got moved to Beijing, China during the height of SARS. And then I got moved to Bangalore, India. Once again, got comfortable and actually started buying plants for the house and got an order to move and picked up and moved to San Jose, California.
Yeah, well, I guess here's the pinnacle of your life.
Yes, so
living
I would
here
say,
in Silicon Valley.
I would say I'm from San Jose now and very proud.
Yeah, and that saves a lot of time.
Yep.
Cutting to the chase. So you're the executive director of an organization that does lots of good work in the community. I understand you've been in tech and all that. Did you have anything when you were going to schools when you were a lot younger that gave you a sense that this is what you might be doing for the rest of your life?
I think ever since I was a teenager, the thought of helping others has always been in the back of my head. As I progressed through school and through, working for a couple of fantastic multinational companies, I always look for opportunities to help others. So I would say it's very much in my blood, and being able to run this wonderful 501c, this nonprofit organization, for me is where mission meets career, and it's a dream come true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have any role models growing up? Anybody that you looked up to that said, do good things, go forth?
There are so many people I can say, you see on TV, you hear about them, but the role model I look up to every day is actually my mother.
Oh.
My mother, she's a single woman, and she brought me to the United States when I was 13. And, she was illiterate. So as an immigrant to the United States, she was not only not speaking English, she was illiterate in Chinese. So, she really honed in on the fact that, you need to be independent. Education is the way to break through, and education is a way to equalize life. That was extremely important. I remember, seeing her pop out of the bottom of a car. She was changing oil, when I was 16 years old. And then she explained to me how, you try to do everything yourself and at least learn the basics. So I carry that with me, as I run organizations and companies. So I definitely would say my mother is my role model.
Wow. What were some of the multinational companies you worked for that you helped see the world by doing?
I worked for General Electric as a programmer in my early days. And I also worked for AT&T in multiple locations in the United States. For 14 years. So AT&T actually transferred me from Morristown, New Jersey to Hong Kong.
Oh.
And then from there, I worked for a startup for a couple of months, and then the startup proceeded to blow up, and we ran out of funding. Then I decided to work for a large company, and at that time, Cisco was as large as you get, a company with wonderful reputation. So I joined Cisco, and there I worked for nearly 14 years.
Oh,
So I've been in the private sector for about 30 years.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You're not in the private sector anymore. So I'm very interested in this organization, Silicon Valley, doing good things for the community. What was the origins of the idea? Did you model this after something else, or?
Silicon Valley Talent Partnership is actually modeled after a similar organization in Chicago called Chicago Civic Alliance, or CCA. The organization is actually founded by the former mayor of San Jose, Chuck Reed, along with Carl Guardino, the CEO of Silicon Valley Leadership Group. They recruited 3 additional board members, Manalni Ingram from Cisco, Alex Marshery from McKinsey, and Dan Grunfield from Morgan Lewis. And together, they basically took a vision of an idea to create pro bono civic partnerships between the private sector and the public sector. And then, when they recruited me last April, it was to bring this vision to life.
What were you doing that allowed them to find you?
Having spent 30 years in the private sector, I actually transitioned out of Cisco in August of last year. And I started doing nonprofit work by being the executive director of a nonprofit called Race to Educate. And we organized 5K races in the United States and also in India to raise awareness and funds for the at-risk youth and also the underprivileged so that they can go to school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have a family yourself? Are you motivated to make our educational system better because you have kids?
Yeah, definitely. I have 2 wonderful children. I have a 21-year-old son, Derek. He is attending Foothill College. And I have a 17-year-old daughter, Emily. And in fact, Emily has just completed her interview to Princeton.
Oh.
And really, for me, as I mentioned to you, I came to the United States for education. And I believe education is really the key to break the cycle of poverty. And, I've worked very hard to provide my children the best education. And I want to give that opportunity to, as many people as possible.
Your mother must be proud.
She is proud, and I continue to be proud of her.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the talent partnership. You have some visionaries that brought people together. What kind of things do you do? What's your mission statement? Things like that.
Silicon Valley Talent Partnership, we spark innovation, civic innovation, so that we can bring people together to build stronger communities. And in a nutshell, we are expert at creating partnership. These partnerships could mean a project with the library. For example, we recruited a team of volunteers from eBay, and they built a wonderful summer reading app for the San Jose Public Library.
Oh.
As many people may know, the summer reading program is one of the flagship programs of most public libraries because we want to prevent what's referred to as the summer slide, where children don't read during the summer, and when school starts, they're already behind. And one way to incentivize that is to allow them to check books and also to interact in a way that's fun for them. So instead of a paper-based program, they're able to interact with the library system in 3 different ways: through an iPhone app, an Android app, and also through the website. All that was completely built up by volunteers from eBay. I think they spent about 400 hours in the span of 3 months, and finally launched that in June of last year.
So what came first? The idea that we want to improve the summer reading program in the libraries, or let's find a way to make apps get young people involved, or?
That's a very good question. What comes first? We always start a project with the civic leaders. So we would go to departments, whether it's PRNS or the library system or the permitting department. We work with the city agencies to find their challenges. We help them scope out the problem in such a way that we can bring in volunteers. So in that particular instance, the library had a challenge, and the head librarian had a vision to make this happen. And with the help of Silicon Valley Talent Partnership, we went to an opportunity hack at eBay. And we were able to find a team of developers who were willing to develop the concept. And once that was done, we were able to work with eBay to recruit a second team of volunteers to literally take the concept into production.
Now, you said opportunity hack. I'm going to have to ask you, what's that?
It's an eBay program. eBay is one of the companies. They're on our board of advisors. They're also a company, I would say a company with a heart. They recruit their developers. That any employee at eBay can participate in an opportunity hack that happens once a year, and they provide that service to nonprofits. As you know, nonprofits often struggle with resources, expertise, and they basically help them to innovate in a way that doesn't cost the nonprofits anything.
So is a hack a coming together and people talking about how can we do this?
Okay,
Brainstorming session?
It's yes, it's people coming together, but it's much more than a brainstorming session. Oftentimes, it's an opportunity to develop a beta or a prototype of a concept, so that a nonprofit can, literally, take something that's developed into production. So it's a hackathon. A hack is short for a hackathon, and it's something that eBay and many other companies continue to do.
So it's a way to develop innovative solutions regardless of the area that we're talking about, nonprofit,
Correct.
For-profit, whatever.
Correct. Yeah, but many hackathons, if it's a nonprofit hackathon, they wouldn't do it for profit organizations. They would provide their service to nonprofit organizations. Yep.
So that's part of how you move forward. You do this, well, brainstorming, if I can use that primitive term now, and out of that comes solutions.
Absolutely. And providing pro bono service to the library is just one of many projects that we do. Our capability, in a way, is almost limitless because volunteers, their expertise are limitless. We're a talent-based organization where we recruit and harvest talent from Silicon Valley. We have provided projects and capabilities to both the city of San Jose, also the city of Santa Clara, in multiple departments. We've recruited marketing and branding talent to help the city of Santa Clara to create their branding strategy ahead of the opening of the Levi Stadium, for example. We also recruited a team of volunteers from Harvard Business School community partners, and they provided a marketing and fundraising strategy for PRNS in San Jose. That's more on the marketing side. We have, this is Silicon Valley. We have a whole host of developers, technical experts who are willing to provide their time and their expertise. So we were able to conduct an open data roadshow with volunteers from Apogee and from multiple nonprofits. We recruited, CIOs from cities to talk about how we can make data more accessible to the public. And there are so many volunteers willing to, quote unquote, hack the data to make some sense out of it.
Got it. Wow. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, lots more to talk about.
Okay, thank you.
See you in a bit.
Hi, my name is Dave Cortese. I'm the president of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors. A lot of people come to me day in and day out asking, how can I get involved? How can I make a difference in my community? Well, one of the things you can do is contact the local Democratic Party. As a lifelong Democrat, I know that that's one of the most inspiring and useful things you can do to help people, especially people who can't stand up for themselves. If you'd like to do that, there's a couple of ways to contact them. You can use their phone number, 408-445-9500, or go to the Democratic Party website, www.sccdp.org. If you want to make a difference, there's probably no better way than contacting our local Democratic Party. Thank you.
Welcome back to Democratic Television and our guest, Lea King. We're talking about the Silicon Valley Talent Partnership and all the great stuff you guys are doing. All the stuff you're doing, and you're such a young organization. You've been around, what, less than a year?
Less than a year, yes.
So we just talked about your project with the San Jose libraries. What are some of the other programs that you've launched and that are well underway?
One of the most exciting programs that we're working, along with a huge partnership from the public sector and the private sector, is a project called Hire. It's called Helping Individual Re-enter Employment.
Oh,
And we're helping the homeless to get job readiness training and also with recruiting so that they can start working and start becoming self-sufficient.
homeless people?
So these are homeless people who are able and willing to get training. And we're working with Work to Future Foundation, as well as Working Partnership, Santa Clara Department of Social Services, as well as a multitude of organizations to help them with mentoring, with job readiness training, and working with the Silicon Valley Leadership Group. We are starting to identify organizations who are willing to hire these people who are very qualified. And in many ways, it solved two of the largest problems in Silicon Valley. One, the issue of talent. Many companies want to hire people, but they're not able to. As you're aware, Silicon Valley has one of the lowest employment ratios.
Right.
So we're able to solve the employment problem. The second thing is, literally, we're helping individuals to be self-sustaining, and they're very proud to be working and to be supporting themselves.
Well, it sounds like it's great that there's a public sector that's ready to provide the training, maybe do the screening and finding the right people to step up. It seems like the important part is what the leadership group and the companies are willing to do, which is to say, yes, we'll give someone a job if they can do the job.
Yeah, there are many organizations already stepping forward, and that's the most exciting part. Organizations such as Target, Panera Bread, Zazzle, there are many organizations who are very willing to become part of this partnership because they all know it's a community issue that involves a community solution. We've recruited volunteers from Bain Consulting to put together a strategic framework and interviewing employers as well as interviewing agencies to put together a very tight partnership. And we're very confident. And so far, there's a beta running at Work to Future. We're able to place so many individuals already, and we're studying the beta in order to find out. We're constantly learning from each cohort, and now we're engaging the leadership group, and there are so many companies within the leadership group who are willing to hire these individuals and to help them.
So, what's a cohort?
A cohort is a group of individuals. The way we've designed the program with Work to Future Foundation is we want to train these people into groups so that they can support one another. So they're being brought in cohorts of 10 to 15 so that they get training, they attend career seminars together, and then eventually they can support one another as friends, that has once gone through the program together.
Wow, so that's giving them a sense of cadre and optimism and resources to work with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's a very exciting program. There's another homeless program that we're doing, which is very interesting. We are using technology to help bridge the excess food in Silicon Valley with those that need it. So we're working with a nonprofit called Waste No Food, as well as the homeless response team in the city of San Jose. So thereby we're bridging the private sector, the nonprofit world, as well as the public sector. The idea is organizations such as Team San Jose, they run the convention center, and we're able to work with the director of food and beverage, and Yul Sterner. He is a huge supporter of this. And basically, any surplus food that would have gone to the dumpster or the landfill is then redirected and given to nonprofit organizations that are serving the homeless.
So this meets the concerns of the hygienic aspect of the food, and it's all certified healthy and not being wasted. Are local restaurants and hotels stepping up? Or
we are starting to recruit restaurants, and in this partnership, we have corporate cafeterias. eBay and PayPal, they're the first company. They put us in contact with the executive chef at Bon Appetit. So we have corporate restaurants and corporate cafeterias participating. Wow. We have hotels in downtown San Jose participating. This includes several of the large hotels, But behind, the recruiting of hotels and restaurants is our partnership with Team San Jose. So Mr. Sterner is doing the recruiting, and the food that are being donated using this Waste No Food app is perfectly good food. This is the kind of food that you and I would be delighted in eating after the program. And through the app, they're really able to, the donors, they're able to take a picture of their surplus food, put it, and nonprofit organizations will sign up. They will specify the distance as well as the kind of food that they will want. As soon as the food is available, they will be notified on their iPhone, and they will just engage the volunteers to pick up the food.
Wow.
So just think about the impact. We in this partnership, we believe that so long as there's surplus food, no one should go home hungry in Silicon Valley.
So all that evolved out of doing a hackathon or hacking or whatever you called it, and people coming together and saying, we have a solution if we can figure out where we get the resources.
Pretty much. I mean, it stemmed from our willingness to work with the city. We approached the city's housing department. And at that time, City of San Jose was wondering, what can we do to help solve the issue of the homeless? How can we help them so that they can get hot meals? And initially, we were going to recruit a bunch of engineers to hack and provide and develop an app. Unbeknownst to us, there's an organization, there's a nonprofit called Waste No Food.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Julie Venowitz-Pierce from eBay, she made the introduction.
Oh.
So in many ways, before we recruit people to develop something, from scratch, we want to find out if there are organizations with that capability already. And we were able to architect a partnership to bring together the capabilities of Waste No Food, the willingness of corporate cafeteria, and the passion from Team San Jose as well as from the hotels downtown. There's so many nonprofit organizations who would benefit from this, and ultimately it's the most at-risk segment of our population, the homeless, who will benefit.
Wow. Well, and if we have time, I'd like to describe some other partnerships that you're coming up with, but I'd also like to get behind the scenes a little bit. What exactly is the talent partnership consisting of? We have the executive director. How extensive is your staff, role of volunteers, the board, and all that?
Yeah. You would think we have an army, but at the end of the day, we are a nonprofit organization. We're an organization of 3 full-time staff. Myself as the executive director, we have Yang-Ying Choi, who is our operations manager, and she's also the project manager for the city of San Jose. We have Srijana Andambe, who is the engagement manager, and her responsibility is to take this model that we've incubated, tried and tested in San Jose, and roll that out to additional cities, including Santa Clara, Fremont, and Sunnyvale. And we are now going north to serve the cities of San Mateo, Daly City, and also South San Francisco.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's the role of your widely extensive staff. What role do volunteers play?
Many roles. We have many volunteers who are volunteer project managers. So they have the expertise to manage the project from beginning to end. We have volunteers who are willing to help us design flyers. We have volunteers who are developing apps, as I mentioned. So volunteers literally would take a project, work with us to define the project scope, recruit additional volunteers, and manage them to a set of deliverables and also a deadline. So we're always looking for project managers. We're always looking for developers. We're looking for marketing people. If you have the talent, come join us.
That sounds great. What are 1 or 2 other projects that you're anticipating taking on?
Okay.
Something that's different from what you've described already.
Sure. I'll talk about 2 projects that are current as well as future. One of the projects is called Small Business Ignite. It has been, we've rolled it out in October in the city of San Jose. It's basically a program by which we recruit experts in the space from Ernst & Young, and we also recruited Hootsuite, who's expert in social media. And basically, they come together with the city of San Jose, with the Office of Economic Development, and they created this fabulous set of training programs targeting at helping small businesses thrive and survive and be very successful. Topics, the training topics, we surveyed the small businesses in San Jose to find out what they want. And without exception, small businesses, they really need more expertise and training in business planning. they need to understand more about marketing, particularly the topic of social media. Because in Silicon Valley, the clientele they serve, they're very savvy in social media, and they would be delighted to interact with their small business using social media. So we're able to then take the expertise from the private sector, package them, and provide training to the small business. So that program is called Small Business Ignite. We, as I mentioned, we launched it in October. It's a year-long program, and the next in-person training is actually next week. And we're able to provide this completely pro bono to the small businesses. This program is so popular. The cities of Fremont and Sunnyvale, both cities we're currently implementing with them as well. And I just recently presented to joint venture. So I was able to share this program with most of the cities in Silicon Valley, and I'm making a bunch of visits to directors of Office of Economic Development, and I'm pretty sure this will take off in most cities.
Wow.
Yeah.
We only have a couple of minutes left. I have two questions I want to ask you. Would you say the work of the talent partnership is replicable, so it doesn't have to be confined to Silicon Valley?
Definitely. If you take a look at our genesis, we started out borrowing an idea from Chicago. This program is so replicable. If there's a city with talent, and which city doesn't have talent? And if there's a city with problems, and which city doesn't have problems? You basically bring together the talent, you bring together the social issues, put them together with civic engagement know-how, you provide project management, you get a wonderful board, you get an advisory board, and basically just add hot water.
Wow.
Okay.
So my last question is, if someone is interested in either volunteering or trying to see if they can get your assistance, how can they contact you? We have about a minute.
I would invite them to visit our website. We have a very comprehensive website. The web address is www.svtpca.org. And we added the CA because we're in Silicon Valley. So it's, once again, www.svtpca.org. And on the website, you can find out a little bit more about our history, our board composition, and most importantly, our completed projects and projects that are currently going on. We are currently having a call for talent in the private sector. We are trying to recruit technical talent to help us on a project with the VTA to help Silicon Valley move.
Wow. Lots of stuff, Lea King.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you very much for being on the show, and I expect you'll get a lot of calls.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thanks for watching Democratic Television. Give us a call at 408-445-9500 or go to our website, www.sccdp.org. Help make a difference.